Hey, good afternoon. Good afternoon, and welcome to We Believe Digital News Break. We're glad you're joining us today. Tuesday, the 25th day of October. Halloween right around the corner. And 67 degrees here in downtown Jackson, Mississippi. Had a tiny bit of rain this morning, but it looks like that's it for today. My name is Chris Young, and I'll be the host today. We've got a whole slate of stories, news information to pass on to you. Hopefully, this can be useful to you in your daily living. Keep you up to speed on things going on up here, not only in Jackson and Hinds County, but the state of Mississippi and around the world. And we continue to strive at We Believe Digital to become a full-fledged media services outlet. We've got all kinds of talent here. We have filming and videography and podcast shows that go on Monday through Friday. This Newsbreak show is on 3 times a week: Tuesdays at 1:30, Wednesdays at 5 p.m., and 2 p.m. on Friday afternoon. We have a close association with the Mississippi Link newspaper and can partner with them to meet your advertising needs. And we do plenty of advertising for the public. Whatever your brand or goods or services you want to move along, we want to help you to do that. You can always contact us at 1-800-492-5186. So give us a call and let us help you along the way. Recently, we shot a commercial being used all over the county down here for political advertisement. Miss Wendy Wilson White is running for a circuit court judge position, and we don't, we'll certainly work for anybody. We don't have any direct affiliation. We're not recommending any specific political candidates, but certainly we're happy to do your commercials for you and your still shots and whatever it takes to help you move your product along, move your service along, move your candidacy along, whatever you need. We'll be glad to help you with that. So we'll start out today on a national level. We're exactly 2 weeks from voting day. 2 weeks from today, huge impact. A lot of people, you hear talk about people being concerned about democracy and losing democracy. Seem like there's a lot of people operating in fear. Some people, they kind of think this is their country, and they seem to be fearful that they're losing their country. The country's, you hear the term all the time, the browning of America. Well, that doesn't sit well with a lot of people, and so you see a lot of hog wild, crazy behavior going on, and just fighting against everything, election results being questioned, lawsuits being filed, and none of them successful. We continue to have free and fair elections in this country, but things are really stirred up right now, and so it would appear that nothing could be more meaningful. However that turns out, nothing could be more meaningful than voting 2 weeks from today. Hope you've made your plans. Hope you got a contingency plan for inclement weather, etc., and we're ready to move out with voting. Get out the vote is going on all over the place, and we're happy to join in with that. So just 2 weeks till voting, November 8th, Tuesday, November 8th. More on the national side, a jury selection starts today for the lawsuit, the state of New York versus the Trump Organization. So that former president, he sure is a lot of lawsuits with the way he does things. I'm not sure what goes on there, but I do know that they have said that his business practices are flawed and discriminatory and illegal in the state of New York, and they're trying to apparently hold him accountable for that. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. I know the Trump Organization chief financial officer, who's been with the company for something like 45 or 50 years or something. He's going to be testifying, and so we'll see the extent of what that. You would think that in the position that he had, that he would certainly know the inner workings of the company and what's right and what's wrong, and if books were doctored or what have you. Assets inflated for purposes of loans, but degraded for the purpose of taxes and all that. So I think we're going to learn a whole lot more in the coming weeks in the state of New York versus the Trump Organization. Big debate in Pennsylvania tonight. Pennsylvania is a battleground state, has been forever. Big debate going on between John Fetterman and Mehmet Oz, a physician of some sort, and really a big salesman also. Mehmet Oz has very weak connections to the state of Pennsylvania, but lo and behold, he's a Republican, and he threw his hat in the ring, and so, pardon me, he wants to be a senator from Pennsylvania, a state that he has very loose connections to, so kind of baffling there. He's also taken pot shots at this John Fetterman, who's a lifelong Pennsylvanian and former mayor of a town in Pennsylvania. The man had a stroke early on in the campaign, and it seems like the doctor is holding that against the patient, so to speak, questioning his fitness for duty because he uses an assistive device often when he's talking in gatherings, so forth, answering reporters' questions and so forth. So I'm not sure he's recovering from a stroke. He's made a lot of progress. I'm not sure that that's really the American way to hold someone, to take pot shots at somebody because of a disability that the man is clearly recovering from. So, but that race will be closely watched, and the debate is tonight. Their final debate is tonight. So if you're interested in that, surely all the cable channels will be covering that tonight. Yesterday, former Defense Secretary Ash Carter died at age 68. Now, he was a Secretary of Defense for a couple years under President Obama. Had a long history with the Defense Department. Seemed like a really fair guy. Dies at 68. Haven't heard any details of what was going on with that, or had he been ill or anything like that. Haven't heard, so we'll have to follow up on that story for you. A few days ago, the Supreme Court of the United States Justice Clarence Thomas put a pause on South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham having to testify for what's been referred to as his meddling in the 2020 Georgia elections. Once again, it's a senator from South Carolina, but he found it necessary to get on the phone and be speaking to elections officials in Georgia, in a neighboring state, about their election, trying, it appears, to help the former president that lost the election get the votes that he needed to turn Georgia. Of course, that didn't happen, and they did 3 different recounts. 2 of them automated, and one of them a hand recount, and had no bearing whatsoever on the outcome. The outcome was absolutely the same. So it's interesting that the senator, it's sort of a portrait of power here in America. Somebody like this can just pick up the phone and start delving into issues from other states on behalf of the president who lost the election. And yet then when it comes time for accountability and people want to hear more about his phone calls and what he was up to, he hides under the shield of attempts to hide under the shield of law. So Clarence Thomas has put a pause on this, him speaking to the Georgia folks right now, for him testifying down there. Other legal folks say that this will be short-lived and that the outcome will be that, he's going to have to testify to what he was up to. And wow, wouldn't that be something? I know if you or I, that was the case for us, certainly we would be held accountable. So interesting, though, sometimes when people have so much power, they just decide they're kind of above the law and they don't need to respond to, inquiries that people make about their behavior. So we'll see how that goes. I heard it reported from a legal scholar last night on one of the stations that he expects that ultimately the full Supreme Court will not hear this, and that they'll move on with this, within a couple of days. So we'll have to wait and see, how that goes. So we still got a few minutes before our break, and moving down into the Mississippi now. My gosh, Twitter was just going crazy yesterday with the announcement for the University of Southern Mississippi getting a new, the institutions of higher learning have weighed in here in Mississippi, and Dr. Joe Paul is the new president of the University of Southern Mississippi. He had been in that capacity, acting in an acting capacity, and so now the job is all his. So interesting. So how many white folks are in charge of things in Mississippi? It's just it's astounding. This state is minimum of 39% African American, and then when you factor in the Hispanic population and other populations, it's a phenomenal amount of people, and yet these people rarely make it to the head of agencies and institutions. It's just shocking. A review that I did a couple of months back, nothing official, but certainly took hours upon hours to research all these agencies in Mississippi and to take a look at who their leaders were and what they look like. And if you live in Mississippi, you already know the answer to this question, but the world needs to know that, what I discovered, and I found well over 100 different agencies. I couldn't find all of them. I believe there's apparently 130, 123, 130 different agencies in Mississippi, and literally 94% of those agencies are headed by people that look like me, pale people in a state that ultimately only half the population is European American or Caucasian or white or whatever words you want to use, but 94% of these people control the agencies. And these agencies, of course, the appointments to these agencies come about by the senior elected leadership, the white governor, the white lieutenant governor, the white Speaker of the House, and lo and behold, year after year, we get more and more new appointments, and at the present time, 94+% are white folks. Certainly wish Dr. Joe Paul well in his tenure as the president of USM. They got a lot of stuff going on. They've been in the news quite a lot, and I don't mean anything untoward towards him. I'm sure he's well qualified for the job. But I would just invite that there's lots of people that would be well qualified, and but in Mississippi, it just always seems to turn out that the vast majority of people in positions of power are white people. So we've run up to the break now. Let's go ahead and take our break, and we'll be back with you shortly.
Let's read and learn together. Meet Mason. Written by Sherry Tate. Illustrated by David. Mason is a young, inspired learner. Walk with him. His use of his senses to explore the world around him. Your young one can learn to identify shapes, numbers, letters, and more with Meet Mason. Available now on Amazon.com.
My name is Wendy Wilson White. I'm a candidate for Hinds County Circuit Court Judge District 2. I was born here and I stayed here. I'm a graduate of Provine High School, Tougaloo College, and Mississippi College School of Law. I've been practicing law here in Jackson and Hinds County since 2001. I have 21 years of trial and courtroom experience, and for the past 8 years, I've been prosecuting crime. I'm running for Circuit Court Judge because I want to redefine justice. We don't deserve to feel unsafe on the streets of Jackson and Hinds County, and you don't deserve to see your families and loved ones killed. We deserve to have a judicial system we can all believe in, and you deserve to have a judge who will hold people accountable. People who live with mental illness deserve fair treatment from our judicial system. We need to educate our children about crime and how they will be held responsible for their actions. We deserve to see our children grow old. They should not be defendants or victims of crime at such early ages. You deserve a judge who is fair and impartial, experienced, and dedicated to the places you and I call home. I want to be the difference our city, county, and court deserve. On November 8th, I need your vote. Please vote Wendy Wilson White, www. Hinds County Circuit Court Judge, District 2.
The Mississippi Link an African-American female-owned newspaper with a trusted voice that is highly respected throughout the city, state, and nation. Our motto, keepers of the knowledge for people who speak the truth, since 1993. Significantly influences the thoughts, attitudes, and buying decisions of its readers. Call us at 601-368-8481 for your advertising needs. If you would like to receive a newspaper in the mail each week, our annual subscription is only $52 per year. That is only $1 per week for you to stay informed regarding many stories that you can only get in the Mississippi Link. Sign up today at themississippiLink.com and click on Home Delivery.
And welcome back to We Believe Digital Newsbreak. We're just picking up where we left off. Saturday was a huge day in Jackson, and yet I took a drive up to Greenwood. I really wanted to see firsthand the brand new, larger-than-life Emmett Till statue that had been unveiled in Greenwood on last Friday. So I skipped the homecoming and the crowds, the amazing crowds that came with them, and drove up to Greenwood. Nice drive. I love taking drives like that. Do a little thinking, do a little listening to music. But that statue was really is really something to behold. I took an awful lot of pictures, talked to some folks up there. The statue was unveiled in a location near where the train tracks went right through the center of Greenwood, Main Street, very close to where Till was kidnapped by white supremacists in 1955. So when you go up there, it's right at the corner, just off Main Street. The statue is in this vacant lot area that's very, very close to Main Street, and right at the intersection of Howard and West Johnson Street is where it's located, and really phenomenal statue. And I'm so glad I made the trip and talked to the folks that I talked to. Of course, the big crowd had been there the day before, so everybody was off, but there was still a good-sized crowd that was a lot of silence, a lot of reflection going on at the base of that 9-foot tall bronze statue of Emmett Till. So we're very grateful for that. Of course, off in the distance, maybe a half a mile as the crow flies, in front of the courthouse, and you can just barely see the very tip of this Confederate statue, about a half a mile from where the Emmett Till statue is. Interesting dynamics, how all that works, how we want to preserve certain kinds of history, no matter what, no matter how backward or how wrong it was. So anyway, Greenwood, Emmett Till statue. Also, going to the Mississippi River, we've reported before record low levels. Got a little bit of relief in the last few days, more upriver than in our area, but a little bit of relief with some rains. But there's really concern about this becoming a long-term issue because of the prediction for the La Nina winter that we're supposed to have, with inclusive of less precipitation over the winter months. So we'll see how that turns out. Really watching that closely. Working our way down to Jackson, 800 people showed up last night at the New Hope Baptist Church to hear about the state's disinvestment in infrastructure. The EPA now, we've reported before, is investigating at the urging of the NAACP and others. Our Congressman Benny Thompson, 2nd Congressional District here in Mississippi, along with the Carolyn Maloney of the Oversight Committee, have sent a letter, which was handed out last night at the gathering, I'm told, to the governor, asking him to pony up information on this years and years and years of disinvestment in the infrastructure here in Jackson. I know a couple of weeks ago there was reporting, different outlets about how, even 10 years ago, when Tate Reeves was just getting started, I believe, as treasurer in Mississippi and connected to the Bond Commission, he made a point of saying that he never voted against infrastructure requests that Jackson had made. But out of the other side of his mouth, what was reported was that these were backroom deals, and they just never let the request come up for a vote, sort of just ignored the requests. And so this is all on record. And thank God for people that keep track of things, and news media following things up and documenting things. And interesting, because sometimes years later it becomes really, really important to have that history. So huge gathering of people. Benny Thompson, state NAACP director, national, Derek Johnson, national NAACP director there, all kinds of people trying to gain more and more information about this water crisis in Jackson, and that following up to make sure people are held accountable and that we get our fair share here in Jackson, because it's been, disproportionately, neglected. Jackson has been neglected disproportionately over the years. And you end up having to ask yourself, why in the world would you do that to the state's capital city? Well, those of us that live here, you don't have to draw the drapes very far before you figure out why they do that. And Jackson is a vastly majority black city, and all this factors in. So big night over at New Hope Baptist Church last night. I think we reported last week, but just briefly, a federal judge has finalized a settlement agreement between Richards Disposal and the city of Jackson. Richards is just a week away from having completed 7 months on the job picking up trash, hasn't received a penny. Well, they will get paid now, says the judge, and they'll, for their first 6 months, it'll be done in installments, and then they'll get paid monthly thereafter. So a lot coming out on that. There'll be writing coming up on that in the Mississippi Link newspaper, and the Mississippi Link newspaper comes out in the evening, tomorrow evening online, and the paper edition, the hard copy edition, will be out at your newsstands by midday on Thursday. So there'll be more detailed reporting on that to follow. Black families harmed and speaking out about the closure of the Merit Health NICU. This is really tough because this is located in South Jackson, and when you look at the demographics of Jackson, overall you see essentially an 85% black city. However, the vast majority of black families can be located in South Jackson and West Jackson, more so than in North Jackson. And, kind of, we always hear about Northeast Jackson being a little have a different standard of living than South Jackson. South Jackson and West Jackson become the bottom of the barrel, and there's more poverty there than in other areas. And so when Merit Health decided, for their economic reasons to close the NICU, brings direct harm to black families with that closure. Dr. Mississippi Today reported today, actually, and talking to Dr. Samuel Brown, that, he reminded people of Mississippi's fetal death rate. When it comes to babies and new mothers in Mississippi, I'll pull out my sheet referred to as titled Good Old Mississippi, 50th in healthcare, 50th in fetal death rate, 50th in infant death rate, 50th in overall life expectancy, 50th in poverty. And yet we lose a NICU in one of the poorest parts of the state. Not that there's not other poor parts, but absolutely one of the poorest parts of the state and the poorest part of the city of Jackson. So this and the other thing too, black mothers. Not only does Mississippi have these dismal health rankings, which they did not get by accident, but with black mothers are 50%, think that through for a second, 50% more impacted than others during their pregnancies. Lots of different issues involved there related to hypertension, related to diabetes, and the list goes on and on. And so a big detriment there. And so we just want to let you know about that there was a gathering recently. Mississippi Today has all the detailed reporting on that. You can check out their website for more information on that. Last week, I think we reported that, Governor Reeves at his turkey pardoning little ceremony, decided to lash out against the mayor of Jackson, calling him a liar, calling him incompetent. Yesterday at his press conference, the mayor, dismissed those comments and referred to the governor's tantrum as patently false. So interesting, the state of Mississippi being investigated on so many levels right now. The mayor of Jackson is not being investigated on so many levels. So something to that. So we want to keep that in mind. And of course, lastly, amazing victory on Saturday for the Jackson State Tigers. The I Love, 51,000+ people in attendance. Took on the Campbell Fighting Camels, and 22-14 victory for Jackson State. Jackson State continues to be ranked number 1 among all HBCUs, and certainly number 1 in the SWAC Eastern Division. Lots of people on board, including Snoop Dogg and Rick Ross. And the news, of course, that College Game Day will be coming this coming Saturday, coming to the Vet when we play Southern. So this will bring in hundreds, maybe thousands more people than we would ordinarily see. It's just going to be packed over there at the stadium. College Game Day, the pregame College Game Day festivities. All sorts of people going to be coming up. Just the crew itself to put on the game day is well over 100 people. So that's going to be a big day this coming Saturday. Get your tickets if you haven't already. JSU Tigers, go JSUTigers.com to get your tickets, or swing by the box office at the Vet. So that'll be coming up next Saturday afternoon. And that'll be a conference game. Whereas this one last weekend was not a conference game, but nonetheless a homecoming weekend and lots of fun had by all. So that concludes our news break for today. I hope you got something out of the show that you hadn't learned before and can be helpful to you, and hope you'll join us tomorrow at 5 p.m. And have a great afternoon and stay safe.